Hello fellow paranormalers, and welcome to this channel. I've got a subject that I find quite interesting. It's sort of responses from different people, and even loved ones, family, about doing paranormal sessions, etc. Now, anyone who's seen any of my other videos will know I've been doing this since I was very young, involved in all sorts of things paranormal. And I've never encountered, I think because I keep a positive attitude, I do protection properly. I was always taught how to do protection from an early age. I wear amulets and protective objects, and all of that kind of thing. So, which is absolutely fine, and touch wood, I've never experienced anything, like some people have some sort of attacks and possession and all that kind of thing. And touch wood, I've never experienced anything like that. And I personally, I just don't think I ever will, because like people, quite a number of people, sort of well-known paranormalers in the paranormal world, will nearly always say that it's all to do with your state of mind and the level of psychology, the psychological state that you're in. If you don't believe that something is going to affect you, then it won't. If you believe that something is dangerous and will affect you, then it will. Simple as that, really. And it's the same from a psychological point of view with anything in life. If you believe that you're not going to achieve something, you won't. If you believe that you will give everything, your best of everything, to achieve something, then you will. So it seems to be such a simple thing that people just don't seem to grasp. But even now, after so many years of being married, to my wife and all that kind of thing, she just hates it when I start talking about, paranormal things. Now, part of that is actually her upbringing and her faith, if you like it were. But I've always found it quite interesting. Some people will talk about paranormal things and spirits, ghosts, things that go bump in the night, anything along those lines, and they will not bat an eyelid about any of it. Okay. They'll talk about it like it's a natural subject to talk about. And then you get the people that will just dismiss everything that you say, or choose not to actually listen to anything you say because they believe something bad is going to happen, or that they think that, something's going to be bad is going to happen to me, or that like I'm some kind of worshipper of the devil or Satan or something. It's like really quite unusual. Do you experience that kind of thing? I would say that most paranormalers do experience that kind of attitude. The attitude of, that you're dabbling in something to do with the devil or Satan, or something, that's like dark and secret and evil, and that it's going to affect you in some way, and that one day you'll just end up going crazy or something. And I think it's just, I think it's funny. I think it's funny how people think like that. But it's not just, strangers or acquaintances that think like that. It can very often be family members that actually think like that. So they constantly live in fear of what is not tangible, what they think, is either evil or damaging or negative or something that can harm you, which I find quite strange. To me, it's a bit like saying, I'm never going to drive a car because I could die I could die driving a car, or I'll never fly a plane. It's like any phobia. If you really firmly believe that you don't want to do something because something bad is going to happen to you, well, hey, that's a limiting belief for the first thing. But also, let's just say you believe that, and then for some unknown reason, maybe out your control, you're forced to, go and do something that's against your belief system, and you believe you're going to die, or something bad is going to happen to you, and it will more than likely happen to you, And I think this goes a long way to explaining, a lot of things, people's reactions in the paranormal world, or skeptics and people who are on the outside of the paranormal world looking in. This seems to be their attitude, and I really do just firmly believe that unless these things are they're not tangible. I was going to say they're not real. They are real, but do you know what I mean? You can't. It's not something that you can photograph, handle, record, store away. It's like it's a bit like psychology in a way. I mean, people years ago didn't know what psychology was. They didn't have the definition of psychology like we do in the last, since Freud and all these other people sort of, if you like, scientifically proven that psychology is something that goes on in our makeup, in our psyche, in our body, in our mind, and that it can have a physiological effect, or it can affect our mind. If you mentioned the sort of psychology or the process of psychology 150, 200 years ago, I mean, you were considered to be a crackpot. Or you would have been considered a crackpot, because no one would have believed that, they would have thought that was witchcraft or something. It's quite interesting, human development, when you start when you start looking into the human development over the ages, belief systems. I mean, it's not that long ago that people used to believe that if you weren't good, you'd go to hell, or that you would go to purgatory. I mean, even in my lifetime, having been partly brought up when I was in my early teens in Ireland, I mean, it was a real indoctrinated thing there that, you either had to be good or you were bad, or you went to purgatory. There was like 3 things that were going to happen to you. And this was really pushed and brainwashed into kids. And, I kind of laughed at it because I never believed any of that anyway. But, people do still believe that stuff. And, even in this day and age, they still believe this stuff, and I do at times find it a little bit strange that people have those limiting beliefs still, and they're not open. I think the key thing is that they're not open. Like they will not open their minds to an alternative or to another explanation about something, or that maybe they should question their belief system. From a psychological point of view, that's how you overcome fear. This is how you overcome habits, how you deal with phobias. You have to be open. You can't do it with somebody who's closed their mind to anything exterior to what they believe. It's just the way of the world. But yeah, do please leave a comment down below if you have family members or friends or whatever that sort of tell you that you're dealing with the devil and you're going to go crazy one day, or your brain's going to be taken over. And I get told things like, "Oh, one day you might turn into someone else." And really, I haven't turned into someone else so far. It's really quite strange. It's quite strange. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again in another video.